So now we are looking at chapter number 5, process models of change, process models for change. As this one starts, because now you have done some type of a little bit of theoretical background in last 4 chapters. So this is some activity which you can do if you like. So you can do this exercise if you want. Exercise 5.1. A scenario is presented, a very simple situation is presented in the scenario section. Job is to design a change plan. Yeah. So read into this situation, see what we have discussed so far, and what you know from your own experiences, and from that you can see what can be done. So for example, this step 1, I'm not going to read this, and if you like, you can look into this, uh, but look into this possible actions. So in this exercise they have given you possible actions, and every action would have some positives, some negatives, and there are quite a few actions which they have suggested here, like maybe 35, 36, and then they have some space available. So maybe you can also from this activity you can also give some actions that do this or do that. But let's look at maybe one or two, maybe one. For example, 11. Look at this number 11. Announce closure plan to existing customers. So something happened in the scenario, and then whatever is the situation, you say, all right, let me announce a closure plan to existing customers. So yes, you can announce that, but what I'm trying to say is that whatever action plan you decide in this scenario, if you take this, if you do this exercise, or in any other change situation, always think about the fallout. What will be the fallout? So for example, if you announce closure plan to existing customers, whatever business it is, and you have some existing customers, if you announce closure, what would be the fallout? Your existing customers might go to your competition, how that is going to impact your businesses, and so on. So essentially what I'm saying, that whatever plan you make in change management, whatever decision you make, whatever course of action you take, always think about the fallout. What is the impact, fallout of this? And then they have step 2, step 3. You can think about it again. If you have free time, you can do this. And then if you do this, you can send it to me. And for example, this one, step 2, you can look into this, and you can look into this and make some model or something. And if you try this, you can email it to me, and we can discuss it in one of the sessions, or we can or I can give you my response, what I think about your proposed model of this situation. You don't have to do this, but if you want to do it, you can do it also in your group work. Again, there are no marks for this or anything. It is just an exercise. It is up to you if you want to do that. Yeah, for example, look at this one. This is very interesting. Approaches which involve the removal of restraining forces within the individual, group, or organization are likely to result in a more permanent change than approaches which involve the application of outside pressure for change. Yeah, please read this highlighted section. Yeah. So one is that one approach, some approaches are which involve the removal of restraining forces, whatever is putting restraint within the individual or organization or group. They are likely to result in a more permanent change than approaches which involve the application of outside pressure for change. If there is outside pressure, external environment and someone is forcing you to do something, then you might do it, but it might not be permanent. This is what it is saying, in other words. So if I force you to read this book, you might do it, but if you are doing it because I am forcing you, and you are not doing it because you want to do it, then you will read this book, maybe, but this will not bring you the habit of book reading. You will not start reading books. On the other hand, if you decide yourself that yes, I was saying that if the change is government, yes. So let me repeat what I was saying. So what I'm essentially trying to say, that if the change is forced on you from some external environment, you might do it, but it is not going to bring the permanent change. Yeah. But if you are doing it on your own, group or organizations, uh, then it is it because you want to do it, your organization want to do it, your people in the organization, they feel the need for that change, all of that. So the chances for it to be permanent are more than if outside pressure is involved in bringing the change. Yeah. So it's just about chances. Again, is not promised that if it is internal, it will be long lasting. Still, there are so many other variables which needs to be looked at. Achieving a lasting change, this is very interesting and important also. Like, we, if we want to, if we are going into change, then we would like that whatever change we are in, it is long lasting and it stays for a longer duration of time. So for that, uh, look into this, for example. This is very interesting model, very interesting. It is called Levin's model. uh, Unlock from the existing level of behavior, unfreeze. So first you are unfreezing yourself or unlearning yourself from the from the things or behaviors or habits where you are in. And then step number two, you move to a new level, whatever new habits you want to form or new way of doing things you want incorporate in your lifestyle or in the organization, whatever it is, you move to the new level. And then in the third, you rephrase the behavior at this new level. Uh, you rephrase your new habit over a period of time. So this is what it is. Three-step model by Levin. You can run a Google search also on it. If you are using my personal website, you are going to see the videos and everything. So it is three-step. It is also called Levin's three-step model. So step one, unfreeze. Try to disassociate with the behavior, with the habit, with whatever it is in the change. Then two, go into the new mode. This maybe is the transformation box. You are in the new learning, and then again remember that when you are in number two, where you are moving to a new level, there is very much chance that you can go back to number one. Is this possible? It's just like you are trying to change some habit. Yeah, have you seen that you are trying to change some habit, you see some change, but you go back to it again? Yeah, I'm seeing it. Like, I don't know if I told you or not. I think I did. Like, I like sweet things and chocolates, and I'm eating those all the time. Not good for health, but it's I enjoy it. So I'm trying to cut on that. So many times I cut a little bit, but then go back to eating it. Then cut a little bit, but then go back to eating more, and all of that. So I can relate with that example. You can think about any example which you like. So many times what I'm trying to say is that you will, from step two, you will go back to step one, or maybe, you would not be interested in changing. You will say, what is the point of, changing this habit, and I should just keep on eating chocolates, or whatever the situation is in the case you are thinking about. And then eventually you will refreeze your behavior at new level, quitting that behavior. This one is proposed by Levin's. It is called Levin's model. Model asks this in yes, I think that in any change model, these three steps are maybe, in any change model, would ask this in their own way. The way can be different, but they will be looking at this somewhere along the line. Maybe not use the same words, but some type of unfreeze or unlock, or whatever is breaking away from status quo, changing some type of change, and then moving to the new. What do you want to learn now? What is the new uh, habit or behavior or change you want to acquire, and then refreeze, like going into that mode, in that behavior, so it becomes your maybe second nature, and you just do it just like that. Yeah. So this is interesting model, like this is under achieving a lasting change. So please read into this and run a search on Levin's change model 3 step. You can also say unfreeze freeze model, yeah, and see what comes up. Stages in the process of change management. So different scholars have given different stages models under this heading. Example, yes. So I was saying that three other process models of change are discussed under this heading, which is stages in the process. One is Lipton, Watson, and Wesley. Yeah. So you can look into this, how they are explaining the change process. They expanded Levin's three-stage model. And what was Levin's three-stage model, if I ask you? Can anyone tell what is Levin's three-stage model? Number one was unfreeze, then number two, go into new habit, new formation, and then number three, refreeze. Yeah, so 3 steps. But Lipton, Watson, and Wesley, they are giving you these 3 steps. You can look into this. For example, they are talking about alternative routes and so on. But I explained you a while ago that almost any change model would ask, that Levin's model in their own way, which is unfreeze, move to new level, and refreeze the behavior. Can, but you should maybe reflect on how other scholars have explained. Egan, for example, he has, he developed a model that reflects Levin's 3 stages of um unfreezing, moving, and refreezing. But then he made some, all these three have made some, changes or some alterations to the Levin 3 step. For example, this one you can look at. So in this one, for example, he's talking again. He's talking about developing a range of possible futures. Yeah. So he's not saying that this will happen. He's saying this can happen, and this can happen, and this can happen. So a range of possible futures. Yeah. So what range does, it gives you a little type of flexibility. Like if this does not work out, then you can work on this. If that does not work out, we can work on that, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So range of possible futures. Yeah, just like I'm doing it right now. So you must have seen that, like I'm connected with two different accounts. So because one of them might go out, so I still have a backup, so I can still see what is happening. So I created a backup also. Yes. So that is one way to uh, mitigate the challenges which can result from different futures. So our future in this thing which we are doing, future can be that I am disconnected, which you saw that I got disconnected every now and then, but then I'm also, I have a backup, so I'm seeing what is happening in the session, and maybe can maybe chat through that, or tell you that, okay, I'm here, but internet problem or whatever. So that is one. And then the third one is Beckett and Harris. They are talking about things, for example, look at this highlighted section, gaining of commitment from key stakeholders. See, this can be very important. What you are seeing highlighted, gaining of commitment from key stakeholders. So whoever are key people who have some stake in whatever the change situation is, if you gain their commitment, their support, and they are determined to help you out, they are committed, then things become relatively easier. Um, so this is what it is. These three models highlight the importance of diagnosis, strategies, and implementation. We did not use the term diagnosis, not in this chapter and not in chapter 3 and 4. So what is diagnosis? You are just trying to understand what is the situation and what is the problem, how you should look into this problem. You are also thinking about if someone has worked in similar type of problem in the past. So all of those activities in trying to understand the nature of change which is required to be worked on, uh, that is what diagnosis is. And the better the diagnosis is, uh, the better maybe the strategy would be. And maybe in the strategy formulation, if you also are able to implement in the right way. For example, you guys, I think Kevin mentioned communication should be proper, and all other things which you have mentioned in the chat. You can look into the chat and reflect on it. So that can help. This one is very important, I think. Actually, as the title says, key steps in the change process. Very important. Please read carefully every line of this section. All of it, very, very carefully. Look into this, for example. At first glance, this model suggests that change is neat, which is not necessarily the reality. And let me show you the model. This is the model. Steps in change process. Yeah, so it might look very neat. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But in the reality of change management, this is not how change is. It is not very, very incremental, because people are involved, situations are involved, internal things are happening, external things are happening, and so many things, as you saw in chapter 3 and 4. There are so many things. So that is why it is not, but still, as the title says, key steps. So whatever the change situation one is involved, one should at least consider the key steps. So what are those key steps? I think let's go through them. So this one, for example, recognition of the need for change. Recognition of the need for change. This is figure 5.1, guys. Recognition of the need for change. Yeah. So there is a need for change. You recognize that. Then start of change process. Then diagnosis. Look, the arrows are going back and forth. Review present state and identify future state, or you can say dream about the future state, or what is the vision, or where you want to go eventually. So you are looking at the present and you are looking in the future and going back and forth in the diagnosis. And then you plan and prepare for implementation. We discussed in chapter 3 or 4, I think. Then you are implementing change. Then you review, uh, look at the external change problems and opportunities and so forth. Uh, you go back in. But look at this. This is what I think is important. Look at the arrows. Look this, review. You review, and then from review, once you review the change, whatever you are trying to implement, you might have to go back to diagnosis, because when you are reviewing, you are not happy with the result or output, as we spoke about it in chapter number 3. Remember that open system model: input, output, and transformation, all of that. Those of you who are listening the recordings, you can look for recording of chapter number 3, I think. Yeah, review, and then diagnosis. You do it again, because the result is not in the review, the result is not as you would have wanted. So you are going back in the diagnosis, that maybe you missed something, and then you go back to plan and prepare, implement and implement change. And even from when you implement change, either you can go back to diagnosis, or maybe you can go to plan and prepare for implementation again, because the way it was implemented, it did not give you the results which you desired or which you aspire to have. So it is steps, but what they are trying to say, that they are interlinked and you might have to go back and forth and all of that. Think about the different personalities of human beings. Not all personalities are okay with this going back and forth. Because think about it, if you write a report and you submit it for anything, at your work or something, and they give you, okay, you need to change this, change this, change this, change this, change this, and it comes back to you. Are you as motivated as you were when you are writing the report for the first time, or you are not that motivated? Sometimes people are not that motivated when they are doing like heavy revision. And think about it, then you resubmit, and then they say, okay, well, yes, you revised, but it is not good enough, you need to do this. So think how your motivation would be. Your motivation, you say, what I have put myself in. I revised it and they are asking me again to revise, and then you revise it, they say, all right, no problem, maybe third time is a charm, so nothing to worry about, let me try again. And then they say, no, this is not what. So this is what change is like. Many times you would have to adjust and adaptability. I think Kevin mentioned it, adaptability, in chapter number 3. So it's kind of like, so that is why it is very important in the earlier stage you think about these things, that this change which I am trying to start, is it really important? Do I really want to do this? Because and look at the people involved. If and think about it, even in personal change, it can be hard and tricky and all of that. So when people are involved, how it is going to go, and your reputation, if change does not work out, it does not, the change does not happen, or your performance is also on stake. People will judge you. They will say, oh, this person was in that change initiative and it did not work. All of that. So you need to think about these things. And not trying to tell you that change is not possible. Of course we know that change is possible. People have made the change in so many things in life, personally, professionally, for the nation. uh, people have done this, but the idea is just to reflect on that what it takes to, as Nikki is saying, the situation is very dynamic, change situation. So what it takes to really bring that change, and do I have those resources, capabilities, that personality, all of that? Do I have that or not? Do I have, if you want to bring some change in individual or organization or in teams or in other people, you do the evaluation and see, if you find that you are not ready yet, then prepare for that. That is what I'm trying to say essentially, that you prepare for that. You see, okay, what capability I need, what capacity I need, what skills I would need. Maybe I don't have those skills. Can I find some other people with those skills who can help me with that? But be mindful of this, that you can always hire a change management expert and they can come and do the job for you. But at the end of the day, please remember that it is your change. You need to take ownership. You need to understand your own dynamics, your organizational dynamics or individual dynamics. Because people can give you they can give you some insight, or they can share their, but you have to see that does it fit in your situation or not, because only you know your situation. Even if you explain someone, they won't really 100% understand what situation you are, because you are in your mind, you know your emotions, you know what is going on in your life and all of that. So even explaining someone, they might say that they understand, but they don't really understand. If you really think about it, sometimes we don't even understand ourselves. Uh, that is why we do something, and then after a while we say, "Oh, why did I do that? I should not have done that. What was I thinking?" All of that. Maybe you guys can relate. I can relate. So I'm saying this, but you can think about it. Should not happen all the time. You do anything you do and you say, "Oh, I don't know why I did that." It should not be that regular. But every now and then, if we are not really thinking, we make those type of mistakes. So be mindful of that. Be mindful that you can nothing is wrong in getting expert opinion and all of that, but at the end of the day, sit down with yourself, with your key people, uh, with the major stakeholders, see what is what. And at the end of the day, remember that it is your shot. If you are leading it, you have to decide based. Don't get influenced by other people. That is also very important. And let's say that I am saying something and you say, okay, all right, you get influenced by, not that you thought about it, you just do what I am saying. So I explained you this figure 5.1 steps in change process or whatever, and you say, all right, this guy seems reasonable, so let me believe in what he's saying. I don't think so. That is a right way for you to manage change. You should listen to me, and you should listen to other people who are in on YouTube. You should read this book, and you should read other books which are available, and then you should reflect on your own, like your experiences, your circumstances, and then you see. If I will go back to chapter number 3, which was fit, you need to see what is fit and what is not fit. Don't get overly influenced by other people, because then someone who is even the expert, someone might be expert in their field, but you should take time to understand your self-assessment, your organizational assessment, all of that. I think you should take the ownership. uh, but read all of this, very important. I have the book right here. I have made a lot of notes and underlines quite a few things in this one. So please see if you can spend time and read what is what. They are talking about same things which I try to explain, but of course in a more structured way and using the right words and terminologies. Um, so it would be nice to read all of this. For example, let's see this line. Take note of this. It needs prepare and plan for implementation, right? It needs to address the extent to which people are ready for and accepting of change and whether the process threatens them in any way. Yeah, please make note and reflect on this. So when you are preparing and planning for implementation, needs to address that people are ready or not, because you can have again, good knowledge and all of that, but people are not ready. They are not ready. So if they are not ready, they won't be there. Even if they are physically there, they won't be there mentally. And as you have, I'm sure you have realized by now that there are so many things involved in change management. If people are not given person, then not most likely it is going to fall down no or so later. It's something is going to just like you guys are here. How many people are here? Let's see, 25. 20 here. Guys, maybe we can. You are here virtually, so instead of physically, it's virtual. So you are here virtually, but are you mentally here? Like we have been talking from like 2.5 hours now. We looked at a couple of chapters. So you are here mentally or you are just here virtually? Are you thinking about these things which we are trying to discuss? Are you looking at the notes? Are you making some notes or reflecting on something? Are you doing something or not? Not really. You are not doing that. So this maybe you can this will be this is recorded, so maybe you can go back to it. But this happens in change situation. People are there physically, but mentally they are. So that means they are not, they are. So if you are not here mentally, then, and I am going on and on and on, but you are not here mentally, then there is no point. It's not working out. Yeah. In other words, for one reason or another, you are not ready. So I am ready to speak, but you are not ready to receive. So then the thing will not transfer. Yes. So make note of this. They should be ready and accepting of change. And whether the process threatens them in any way, you need to ensure that no one is threatened. Like, for example, you are trying to bring some change and in the organization in terms of digitization, and people feel at work that uh, this digitization can result in the loss of job for them, and then they whatever you can think on those lines. So that means that they are somehow they are threatened by whatever change you are implementing. So this can backfire and other things. So um, they are speaking about a couple of things. Some terminologies are being used here. I'm seeing in implementing change. If you don't understand a word, run a Google search on it and look into that. Feedback mechanisms, for example, reward systems are in place that will monitor and reinforce desired new behavior. And we spoke about that, when you are being thankful and recognizing someone's effort, then you are in the last chapter. You can look at the recording, I think chapter number 4. uh, if you recognize the efforts of someone, then and you thank them and you appreciate them, then in other words what you are doing is you are reinforcing the desired behavior. And let me show you from the book also. Like, for example, here, look at this. Reinforce desired new behavior. And one way is to, uh, praise them. And you guys also mentioned, incentives and money and cash. And in the chat, you can read some of the pointers about that. Then managing the people issues. This is, of course, very important. The key areas: people issues, people management, and uh, this is important because even if you are not looking at change management, whatever you would do, people would be involved in one way or another. So if you are good in managing people's issue, uh, most likely you will be wanted in various industries and for various jobs. Yes. So for example, look at this, these bullet points: power, leadership, communication, you see, training, development, motivation, motivating others to change, support for others to help them manage their personal transition. So more or less, you guys have mentioned these things um, in the earlier chapters. You guys have been thinking on these lines, so that is good. Look at this line, for example. Yeah. Change managers need to address these people issues at all stages of the change process and not just when designing a strategy for implementation. Yeah, please think about this. Change managers need to address these people issues at all stages of the change process, not designing a for implementation. Yes. So I was saying, in other words, it is dynamic. You have to go back and forth. You have to like be on it. Change is not something you will just make a strategy and it will run on autopilot. You will have to you have to find out issues, loopholes, problems, identify them as you are working on it. Keep people motivated, interested. Try to encourage them when they do something good. When things don't work out the way you want it to, try to curb or manage your stress and anger. And as you are doing all of these things, you have to perform yourself also. Yes, it is just like it's like linked with like if you are leading, if you are leader in a change manage, right? Like take an example of sports like cricket. So you are captain of the cricket team and you have to manage all the 11 players or 10 other players. Yes. So who is going to do bowling, who is going to do batting, what is going to happen in on the field, all of those things you are that is like people's issue. And then you have to perform also because you are leader. You maybe have to lead by example. If you are asking them to score self, then yeah, it is kind of like like all right, what else is for example, change strategy they are talking about. Yeah, this is important, I think. So let's pick a couple of lines from this. Um, for example, look at this. This needs to be regarded as something that is dynamic and evolving and not a grand plan that can be set in stone. Yes, as I was saying, please look into this highlighted section. A change strategy needs to be regarded as something that is dynamic and evolving, and not a grand plan that can be set in stone from the start. Yes, from the start, you cannot predict everything and you can say, all right, this is going to happen. It's not like that. But you should still have a plan. You still have a plan and what you plan to do. But just be mindful that things might not go as you are. So many other people are involved. It is also important to recognize that there is no one recipe or about how change should be managed that can be applied to all situations. I think please should make note of this. Yeah, please make note of this. That's it. Again, it is also important to recognize that there is no one recipe or prescription about how change should be managed that can be applied to all situations. Yeah. So in other words, as we say, different strokes for different folks. Yeah. And change and managing change is a complex process. Complex process. So again, all of this is just, we when you know about these things, then when you are going in change, you just go a little bit better prepared. So if you take it light, then it might fail because you are taking it light. You are not really, uh, working hard on it. You will say, well, I will do it and all of that. But on the other hand, if you keep these things in mind, which we discussed today, uh, which was chapter 3, 4, and 5, then the chances of success becomes a little bit more. Yeah, pay attention to the summary section also. With this, we can conclude chapter number